In a small town, there lived a boy named Ryan. He was bright, curious, and full of potential. He had a clear dream to become a doctor. Everyone believed he could do it. But Ryan had one big problem. His mind would not stay where he needed it to be. Each time he sat to study, he drifted. He glanced at his phone. He told himself he had time. He promised he would make up for it later. Later never came. His teachers warned him, and his parents nudged him, yet he kept relying on talent alone. The result day for a scholarship came. Ryan thought this could ease his path to medical school. But he failed. His friends who studied with steady focus did well. Ryan sat alone that evening, ashamed, not because he was not smart, but because he had wasted his attention. In that quiet moment, he learned a hard truth: talent is a gift, discipline is a choice. He decided to change. He looked for someone who could teach more than facts, someone who could teach self-control. He found Coach Miller, a patient mentor known for turning scattered kids into focused learners. Ryan said, "Coach, my mind keeps jumping. How do I hold my focus?" Coach Miller smiled. "Let me show you." He placed a simple target on a stand and handed Ryan a toy bow and arrow. "Hit the center." "What were you looking at?" the coach asked. "The trees, the field, the board," Ryan said. The coach nodded. "That's the problem." In sports psychology, we talk about a narrow external focus. When you aim, you lock on the target and filter out the noise. In life, the target is your goal. Everything else is wind. He continued, "Ryan, people often think success is all about intelligence. But long-term research says otherwise." A famous New Zealand study led by Terry Moffat followed over 1,000 children for decades. It found that self-control in childhood predicted better health, higher income, and fewer problems later in life, even when you account for IQ and family background. This means your ability to control your attention and actions matters a lot. The good news? It's trainable. Ryan leaned in. "How do I train it?" Coach Miller said, "For simple rules. Not easy, but simple. And they are backed by what scientists have learned. Rule 1, direct your attention on purpose. Your thoughts will wander, that's normal. Your job is to bring them back. Make an if-then plan. Psychologist Peter Gallwitzer showed that specific if-then plans raise the chance you will follow through. Tell yourself, if it is 7 p.m., then I open my biology book and start with page 1. When distractions show up, say, if my mind drifts, then I take one slow breath and read the next sentence. You're not fighting thoughts, you're steering them. Rule 2, build a routine you can actually keep. Goals set your direction, routines move your feet. Research on goal setting by Edwin Locke and Gary Latham shows that clear, specific goals help. So make your study time clear and your tasks small and specific. Study biology is vague. Review Chapter 2 for 25 minutes and answer 5 practice questions is clear. And pair your study with stable anchors in your day, like right after dinner or right after you come home. Routines lower the need for willpower because your brain follows patterns. Rule 3, protect your focus like it's treasure. Interruptions cost more than you think. Research by Gloria Mark and others shows that after an interruption, it can take many minutes to truly get back into the task. In some studies, over 20 minutes. And even the silent presence of your phone can pull your thinking power down. In one study led by Adrian Ward, people performed worse on thinking tasks when their phone was visible, even if it was face down and unused. So study with your phone in another room or at least out of sight. Close extra tabs. Make distractions harder to reach and your work easier to start. Rule 4, practice every day and forgive yourself when you slip. Habits don't form in a magical 21 days. Research by Philippa Lally and colleagues found that it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days for a habit to feel automatic, with an average around 66 days. It depends on the person and the habit. What matters is consistency, not perfection. Missing once does not break a habit, giving up does. Think long-term. Aim for small wins daily. Over time, your discipline becomes your default. Ryan listened and asked, "What if I feel tired?" The coach said, "Take care of your basics. Good sleep helps your brain's control center work better. A steady bedtime, short breaks, and simple meals all support your focus. Discipline isn't punishment, it's design. You're building a day that supports your goal. Ryan wrote his plan. If it was 6:30 p.m., then he would sit at the desk. He would set a short, clear task. He would put his phone in another room. When his mind drifted, he would use one slow breath and read the next line. He would stop at a set time, take a break, and start again. He would measure progress by pages read and questions answered, not by hours bragged about. The first week was hard. His mind wandered. He caught it and came back. Some nights went better than others. But he kept the rules simple and steady. He didn't chase motivation. He followed his plan. After a few weeks, starting got easier. He felt less pulled by his phone. He noticed that small daily work added up. He no longer needed to pull all-nighters because he had already built a path. Months later, another important exam arrived. This time, Ryan walked in calm. He had practiced focus as if it were a sport. He finished strong and placed at the top. When he later stepped on stage for a scholarship, he remembered the coach's words. The mind is like a wild horse. If you don't guide it, it will run anywhere. If you train it, it will carry you far. Ryan still saw himself as smart. But now he was smart with a system. He learned that discipline is not about being harsh on yourself. It is about making your choices ahead of time so the right move becomes the easy move. He kept one principle close: train your mind with daily discipline, and success will follow you. If this story helped you, share it with someone who needs it today. Subscribe for more stories that turn science into simple steps. Be patient, be thankful, and keep moving forward in life. He began to think of discipline as a hidden muscle, one that strengthened each time he lifted a small weight of focus. He stacked the weights carefully. At 6:30 sharp, he opened his notebook and wrote the exact page he would finish before the break timer rang. When the urge to scroll arrived, he labeled it aloud, distraction, and returned to the sentence he had left. The label itself became a cue, a tiny ritual that told his brain which track to ride. By the end of the second week, he had logged 60 focused pages, more than he used to cover in a month of scattered effort. Coach Miller checked in every Friday. Don't chase feelings, he reminded. Chase reps. He showed Ryan a chart of habit strength. Early days wobble like a kite, but after 30 consistent reps, the line steadies. Ryan circled each day he completed the 4 rules. The growing chain on his wall looked like a row of fence posts keeping the wild horse inside a corral. One night, a storm knocked out the power. He lit a candle, turned his phone face down, and worked by hand. The next morning, he laughed. He had finally outrun the excuse of bad conditions. Spring arrived with the district mock exam. Ryan entered the hall relaxed, the way athletes jog onto a field they have practiced on 100 times. He opened the booklet, scanned the first question, and heard Coach's voice, arrow on the target, nothing else. 2 hours later, he closed the booklet early, certain he had done enough. Results came back. First place, 10 points clear. The teachers who once sighed at his name now asked what had changed. He told them, "I stopped waiting for motivation and started following a system." The scholarship committee invited finalists to an interview. They asked about setbacks. Ryan spoke of the day he failed, of the shame on the park bench, and of the 4 rules that turned the shame into structure. One interviewer, a retired surgeon, leaned forward. "Medicine is long days and late nights," she said. "How will you keep the horse from bolting during residency?" "The same way I do now. One targeted breath, one clear task, one protected hour at a time." A week later, the letter arrived, full tuition, plus a summer research slot. On the day he left for university, he walked past the school playground. The toy bow still leaned against the storage shed, its plastic faded by sun. He set up the target one last time, knocked an arrow, and hit the center. The sound was soft, thud, but to him it echoed like a starting gun. He left the arrow standing as a quiet promise to every distracted kid who would come after him. The horse can be trained, the target can be hit, the dream can be lived. Years later, during the white coat ceremony, Ryan repeated Coach Miller's words to the incoming class. "Intelligence opens the door. Discipline walks you through." Afterward, he sent a message to the old coach. "For rules, thousands of reps, one life changed." Coach replied with a single line, "Keep stacking the reps, doctor." If you feel the wild horse tugging today, remember Ryan's first shaky week. Pick one small rep and finish it before the sun goes down. Stack another tomorrow. The fence rises one rail at a time and the horse learns the path. Share this story with someone who thinks talent is enough and remind them that daily discipline turns gifts into results. Subscribe for more tales that mix science with simple steps and keep moving forward. One focused breath, one clear target, one quiet victory at a time.